2 practices in. Do you like how the guys practice?
I love our effort. I think just a ton of stuff. Obviously, that is there's so many things that are a work in progress at this point. But the attitude, the effort, and just the pure work has been great. Got a bunch of young, talented guys that just don't know what they're doing yet, but they have. There's a lot of good-looking stuff out there, a lot of stuff that you can polish up, and in the long term will be really good. Excited, as much as you can be in make-believe football right now with no pads of both sides up front has been solid. We'll see when we get a little bit more sense of reality here in the next few days when we put on at least some pads.
This is the one time where you have a huge kind of influx of players who, like you said, don't know what they're doing. How do you handle that? Are you micromanaging them at this time? Or are you just kind of letting them? Do you let them go and just go?
Just hammering expectations, and we know that Marcus Mariota better execute better than Morgan Mahalik, but we're not holding him to any different standard. And then afterward, you obviously clean that up in a different way. But that's how you can push and push and push. And if you never push, you don't know. And so some of these young guys definitely are going to help us, I think, just as far as past experience and where they are mentally right now. But yeah, just pushing the heck out of them and keeping their confidence. Right now they don't know when they're right and they don't know when they're wrong. So it's one of those deals of trying to reinforce the good and correct the stuff we need to correct.
Can you get an idea 2 practices in which of the true freshmen, from your past experience, can you tell right away which guys might be able to contribute and which guys maybe you see
for the most part? But then you need to get into the physical nature of it too, where the pads are out and there's a little bit more to it than just lining up and doing the right thing, which we've done a ton of that, and we've also made a ton of mistakes. But once you get the pads on a little bit and that kind of anxiety or whatever the right word is goes away, the players kind of come out.
You talked about having 40 new guys on the team. Is the tempo where you want it to be, or is it still kind of this is where you need to be, you go here type deal?
At times, that's part of it. Again, you get in the third group, and right now this time of year we split up a lot into 2 different units, and sometimes it's you and me at tailback, and we're good, but we don't look great execution-wise. And so battling through that and just staying confident and again, not compromising the product for who's in there.
Talking about expectations, what expectations do you have for new guys coming in as far as execution and stuff like that?
Execution is going to happen at different rates, based on a lot of variables, and that's kind of, again, you're a young guy and you know what the formation is, and maybe that's it, or the assignment and against one coverage or one defense, or whatever the situation is, and just to have a great attitude and work hard, and if they take correction, which these guys have, and then the key for those guys is to make new mistakes. If we can just kind of scratch something off their list every day of, okay, I know where to line up on A, B, and C, and that's a standby for the rest of their life, we're making progress.
Coach, I know you guys as coaches watch practice video. With no school going on, do the guys get to watch practice video and see their mistakes and what they're doing well?
Yeah, they we obviously have ways that we can break it down a million different ways for all those guys, and that's one thing about this group of guys. They're very self-motivated in that regard, and they want to do well and want to compete and put their best foot forward, and obviously the best way to do that for a young guy is to be prepared as much as possible before you're out there.
Mark, you mentioned Morgan. Did you talk to him and Ty about taking advantage of being able to just watch Marcus for a year, like everything he does, and pick up some of those habits?
I probably have. I don't recall specifically having that conversation. I think we had that in recruiting, just as far as being around a guy and how hard he works and how hard he practices and what his standard is, for how he carries himself, and what he expects is exactly what you want in a quarterback, and those guys will do nothing but absorb that.
What do you like about Morgan? How does he look out there?
He looks good. He looks like a young quarterback. He's made some really great plays, and he's made some, as soon as it's over, he hits himself on the helmet plays, and we'll have a little bit more poise and composure and start to again, for a guy like that, playing quarterback, you're relying on 10 other guys to do their job perfectly, and sometimes when it's the, true freshman tackle against DeForest Buckner, that doesn't really work out. And so, again, just fighting through the adversity of those mistakes, both his own and others, and learning.
There's a guy like Morgan who played an offense somewhat similar to guys wide open. Does that help at all, or because the terminology is different, it's just a different ballgame?
It can be both. Sometimes guys, if they call it green and we call it red, they just can't get over that. It's like, that's green, that's red, and they try to translate it in their mind on the snap, and that doesn't work. By the same token, guys kind of understand a general concept, and it's immediately associated with something they've done before. So it can work both ways.
Don had said in the spring that you were more active, kind of jumping around to all position units, defense, special teams, as the spring went on, not just hanging out with the offense. Do you find yourself doing that, kind of bouncing around, or do you still try to specialize on just the offensive guys?
Yeah, I did that last year,
Okay.
and so I don't think I did it anymore. I must have been subconsciously if I did, but yeah, I try to get around as much as possible to everybody. And I mean, I'm obviously going to be more behind the scenes and involved in the offense than the defense. But yeah, I love being around all these guys.
Is it too early to see how the guys are reacting to having Coach DP as a defensive coordinator, or do you have a good feel of how they're reacting to that?
They're working their tails off, and had one period where I didn't think we ran great. We have a very high standard for what that means, and for the rest of the practice, I thought they ran around and did things really well. But yeah, I mean it's too early. Sorry, it's tripod. I thought that was your foot. It's obviously too early to tell, but there's no doubt in my mind they love and will love playing for that guy. And again, that's not saying anything about who was here before. This is always the conclusion.
Thanks.